Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Christ Central. Today we have Romans 3, verses 9 to 20. And it goes like this. What shall we conclude then? Do we have any advantage? Not at all. For we have already made the charge that Jews and Gentiles alike are all under the power of sin. As it is written, there is no one righteous, not even one. There is no one who understands. There is no one who seeks God. All have turned away. They have together become worthless. There is no one who does good, not even one. Their throats are open graves. Their tongues practice deceit. The poison of vipers is on their lips. Their mouths are full of cursing and bitterness. Their feet are swift to shed blood. Ruin and misery mark their ways, and the way of peace they do not know. There is no fear of God before their eyes. Now we know that whatever the law says, it says to those who are under the law, so that every mouth may be silenced and the whole world held accountable to God. Therefore, no one will be declared righteous in God's sight by the works of the law. Rather, through the law, we become conscious of our sin. What Paul is doing here is creating the first century equivalent of a mixtape. This passage is a mashup of lots of Bible verses ripped mainly from the Psalms and Isaiah and strung together, so that they sound like they all belong together. And his point is that whoever you are, whether you're a Greek, you're a Jew, a Roman Briton, a Spaniard, or someone he's not thought of yet, like an Aboriginal tribesman, you are all under the power of sin and separated from God. And the Jews may think that they're favored by God because they have the law, but Paul says, really, it does you no good. All it does is point out how far you are from God, because no one can keep it. I don't get that consciousness of sin from reading the Old Testament law. Maybe I'm not sensitive enough or don't read it enough. Maybe it's because being brought up eating bacon, you get used to the idea that it is selectively applied. Or maybe I think cutting off the hand of a woman who seizes the private parts of a man the husband is fighting is a little bit harsh. That's Deuteronomy 25:11-12 if you're interested. I do find myself conscious of sin when I read the Gospels, though, and I'm reminded of Jesus' standards. Anyone who looks at a woman lustfully is guilty of adultery. Saying to someone, you fool, puts you in danger of hell. And if someone takes your tunic, you give them your cloak as well. And you don't just love those who love you. You're instructed to be perfect, and that is exhausting and unattainable. I'm struck by the idea of God portrayed by Paul here, which to me feels like God is this huge wall of polished granite. It's too high to climb. You can't see to the top or the ends, and it's completely unbending. He cuts us no slack. He doesn't take into account our circumstances, or our well-intentioned failures don't impress. Our weaknesses are not understandable. This is a very different God to the picture of God I sort of imagine from the prodigal son, who is willing to forgive everything and desperate to give his wayward child a hug. And they're both right. God is both these seemingly contradictory things. But what he is not is the way I often find myself thinking of God, like some cuddly, indulgent uncle who's really relaxed and tolerates my faults and failings and says, oh, that's just Richard. Yes, I know he does all that bad stuff, but you got to love him anyway. No, God is unbendingly righteous and he can't abide sin. He finds it really, really upsetting. But because he loves us so much, he forgives us. And that forgiveness is really costly to him. As Paul says in Corinthians 6-20, you were bought at a price. That price is enormous. God is giving us a big hug and saying to us, we are forgiven, we are his children. But It's really, really costly for him to do that. So let us not take it lightly. And that's all I have for you.